So, have you been wanting to start a podcast, but you keep putting it off because you just feel like it's not the priority right now? Well, this episode is for you because in this episode, I'm going to tell you why, as a business owner, it's really important for you to prioritize getting your podcast launched as soon as possible. So, if you've been putting it off for months or even years, this episode is for you.
What's up? I'm Angie, and you are listening to Podcast That Pays, the podcast for online business owners who want to grow their business and sell their offers using podcasting. If you like no fluff, tell it like it is advice from a marketing loving podcast agency owner, you are in the right place. So glad you're here. Let's dive in.
Okay, so if you don't know, I have been having a lot of conversations with business owners, with people in my world about my business. I actually am doing this like 100 days of reaching out to 100 people to talk about my business. And if you want to follow along with that, come over to my TikTok at Angie M. Jordan and follow along. And you can see all the ups and downs and rounds that I'm going to put myself in going through this challenge for myself. So, in those conversations, something that someone said to me yesterday, and you see, this is why I love the idea of having conversations with people as a business owner, because you get to learn a lot. If nothing else, you will learn so much by talking to people. And though I'm not a business coach, anytime someone comes to me and they say, "Hey, Angie, I'm struggling in my business. I'm not making any money and blah, 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 blah." I'm like, are you actually having conversations with people? If you're struggling in your messaging, if you're struggling to make sales, if you're struggling to get motivation in your business, you're having a hard time showing up, one of the best things that you can do is just go back to basics and just have conversations because those conversations will spark things, will motivate you, will remind you why you're doing what you're doing, will bring you closer to that why, just like that conversation sparked this podcast episode and lots of content that will come from this podcast episode because I'm actively having conversations, right? So that's just a little side note, but I want to talk about this idea that your podcast is just not the priority. And that could be true for you. And that is a valid thing because I'm betting that the thing that is your priority is talking to people, is making sales, is driving your revenue. And a lot of times you're looking at podcasting as that's not the answer to being able to drive your revenue. That podcasting is this like over here thing that exists for some odd reason, just as this shiny add on to your business or this add on thing to your business that comes once your business is established or once you get to this place where you can then prioritize it. And I just want to offer you up something to make you think about this differently. And I know that I've talked about this before, but I felt like it was important to mention again. And I'm pretty sure I will feel like it's important to mention again and again at some point because it's probably the number one thing that I hear from business owners is I just don't have time. I'm busy doing all these other things, blah, 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 blah. So, what I will say is that if you're so busy doing these other things in your business, what that tells me, and I could be wrong, could be dead ass wrong, but most likely what is going on is that you are running around putting out all the immediate fires in your business because you don't have sustainable, evergreen, long form content marketing. You don't have a marketing system in your business that is working for you continuously. So instead of having this marketing system that is continuously working to bring you leads, you are continuously on this hamster wheel of running around and round and round and trying to do that, AKA running and putting out these immediate fires. So these immediate fires are the things that are taking your attention, your time, your priority, all of that is coming from these immediate things that feel so important. But when do you take the time to build out the things in the marketing systems that will eventually get you out of the place where you have to do all this stuff? If you never take the time to put these solid foundational pieces in place in your business, will you ever get out of that place of the constant need to be on the hamster wheel? Will you ever get out of that place where you feel like you always have to be creating and driving revenue and, doing those things where you can't do this quote unquote side project of a podcast because you're thinking about it as a side project? That's the problem. It's not a side project. I go so hard for podcasts because it really truly can be the centerpiece, the core thing in your marketing that will make every single fucking thing easier. I am recording this right now. I'm recording it on video. I'm recording it on audio. I will take this recording. I will put this on YouTube. I will put this on my podcast. I will take this video and repurpose it as a Facebook Live as content. I will take clips from this shit and I will use it for social media. Not just that, I will take the idea behind this episode and the main points in this episode, and I will write posts about it and I will create TikToks about it. From this one piece of content, I am going to be able to create at least 20 pieces of content related to this topic in different formats very, very easily. So essentially, I'm working a lot smarter than I'm working harder. So people are like, God, that's a lot of content to be putting out. You're putting out content everywhere. How are you keeping up with 3 TikToks a day? Because I'm pulling my content from my podcast. And I'm pulling my content from having conversations with people because it's the easiest way to spark content is by having conversations. So for me, this has to be the priority because without this, nothing else goes off in my business. Without this, I'm working harder. Without this, I'm not working smarter. I'm working 3 times the amount of times because I create some TikToks. Then I have to think about it. I'm creating, what am I writing for Facebook today? Then I have to think about it. Am I putting something different on YouTube? Like this actually simplifies things for me. And not just that, but not only does it simplify things to where I don't have to think, because when you're a business owner, like conserving your energy is everything. Your time and your energy and your money are your most valuable resources as a business owner. So you don't have to think about it. You can, like, it makes it easier and it simplifies it. But it's also something that's going to work for you over and over and over. This piece of content that I'm creating right now is going to live for months and years and pick up steam and nurture people who have never ever heard of me, who are going to find me through this. They're going to find me on Pinterest. They're going to find me on YouTube. They're going to find me through the podcast app, through these long form content places, through these evergreen search places. And this piece of content is going to work for me over and over. So why prioritize making a Facebook post that is literally, quite literally going to disappear? Hey, if you're listening to this and you're thinking to yourself, I really need to up my podcasting game, or you want to start utilizing your show more for your business to get more leads and sell more offers, then I want you to come over to podcastthatpays.com and check out the Podcast Collab Lab. That's podcastthatpays.com and check out what we're doing over there. I would love you to join us. Okay, back to the show. I hope to God you're at least saving your content that you're posting on social media so that you can recycle it at some point. But this, it will work for you over and over and over again. So the idea of prioritizing me sitting on Facebook writing content over this seems like an act in just wasting my damn time. or it's not wasting my time, but it's not maximizing my time. That's the word I'm looking for. If I want to be a business owner that maximizes my time, prioritizing getting in here, getting my mic out, putting this on video and creating a podcast episode maximizes my fucking time, and it maximizes my visibility. So because I'm not just on one platform creating independently. So now I have a marketing strategy where I'm creating content around specific things. I have a funnel, I have a place for you to go once you listen to my podcast. It's a smart thing that I track and I know what's going on and what people are doing. I'm using it as a lead generation system for my business, which most people don't do. So, where and why is creating a lead generation system that is evergreen for your business? Why is that not a priority? Why are we not prioritizing putting something like that in place? So, if you already have that in place, then I could see you not prioritizing it. Then we could go back to the why I love podcasting, the platform, because it's the most consumed platform. It's the most consumed content. People are actually consuming it with intention. So there's many, many, many benefits to your business. But the problem is that we are not looking at it like that. We're looking at it as, oh, it's just this cute thing that we're doing over here on the side. When in reality, it is something that can be a really powerful force for your business. So if you have been putting it off, I literally get it. I understand. I invite you to change the way that you're thinking about this. I invite you to think about, if you don't have solid, sustainable lead generation systems in your business, that this could be the thing for you. Because not only is it going to generate those leads, but it's also going to simplify how you do your marketing. So it's a win-win. And if you do already have a podcast and you are just barely keeping up with being consistent for your podcast, I invite you also, I want you to really think about what you're doing with your time. Our time is so precious and valuable as a business owner. So if you're creating and doing this podcast over and over and you don't have it, it's not tied to your business, you're not using it as a lead generation strategy, you're not simplifying your other marketing with it, like, what are you doing with it? You could be doing that. You could be saving yourself a lot of time and effort and money to generate leads. So, why should you make your podcast a priority? In conclusion, because it will simplify your marketing, your content marketing, helps you be in more places, and will build you a sustainable, long form content lead generation system that will work for you even when you're not showing up for it. I mean, you still have to show up, but not like how you show up on social media and create 3 TikToks, 4 TikToks a day and 10 Facebook posts and all of that, right? So this will continue on and live on past this date that I post this episode. It's going to build up steam. It's going to bring new people into my world consistently, which is what I love. So if you loved this, come over to my Instagram and let me know what you think at Angie M. Jordan. I love to hear from you over on Instagram, and I will see you in the next episode.
Hey, if you enjoyed the show, head over to podcastthatpays.com to get started on your way to creating a podcast that pays. And don't forget to follow this show and take a screenshot that you were listening and tag me on Instagram at Angie M. Jordan. I'd love to meet you and show you some love over there. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. Let's get this money.